The
There's your
account
red button.
owner and host can watch Zoom cloud recordings, and any participant with permission can record to their local device. By continuing in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. I guess I have to consent. What's up, everybody? We have been gone for a while because Connor refuses to pick a recording date, but we're here. What is this, 22? Episode 22?
Oh, that would just be too perfect.
It would be so good, wouldn't it? Let me double check. I think it is.
If it's not, we're just gonna have to put this off. Oh no, it is. It's 22.
Episode 22. That's wild. Yeah, let's see. We
Totally
used to go
planned.
from getting like 20 downloads a day to 0, 1, 1, 0 because Connor refuses to record. He's gonna complain.
Gotta keep the people wanting more.
Yeah, clearly they don't because nobody's downloading it. 22 under 22 list came out in just about a week ago, give or take. And we were going to record this last week until somebody wasn't ready. I'm looking at you, Connor.
I know you. Who else are you looking at?
I don't know. We decided we should take a spin on it and give our own 22 under 22. Because as you all know, we are always right and MLS is always wrong. So we have to go out and correct them. A quick recap here. From 22 to 1 is, I'll read the list off. Moses Nyman, Deber Casero, Christian Cáceres, Thiago Andrade. Weird, they said David Ochoa. I think they just meant to write Snake. That's okay. Ayo Akinola, Justin Shea, Leon Flock, Brenner, Paxton Pomical, Efrain Alvarez, Kevin Paredes, Cole Bassett at number 10, Jesus Ferreira at 9, Caden Clark at 8, Cade Cowell at 7, George Bello at 6, Arujo at 5 from LA, Brian Rodriguez at 4, James Sands at 3, Daryl DK at 2, Ricardo Pepi at 1. That is the official list as my dog goes crazy barking at, oh, that's right, nothing again.
She's getting excited. What do you mean?
She's hyped for the pod.
Yeah, of course.
So I have a rough, I need to move things around still. I just kind of made a list of a bunch of people, but I'll ask you, what did you make your list out of? Like, what were your criteria when you were making your list? Because we didn't do this together.
I mainly focused on like, a bit more recency, like who has been playing well. And when I say recency, I don't mean like the last 5 games. I mean like kind of towards the end of last season into the start of this season, who's been playing well for their club. I mean, just overall too. I don't know if I've really just focused solely on like MLS. So like let's say for example, DK, like I took into account like what he did at Barnsley. Sure. Because mainly I think he missed like the start of the season because he was still there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I think it's fair to take that into account since he
Definitely
wasn't there. So I'm kind of looking at who's performing right now as opposed to like which guy has like the most potential to be great in the future.
Mm-hmm. I did the same.
Sorry, go ahead.
I did the same thing. But I also brought into the international what they've done for their international teams, as well as any potential interest abroad. So if somebody is looking, like they've got a ton of people looking at them, who did I pick out that went a little bit higher than I'd like because of this? All right, I gotta get come in, Grace. She is just.
I don't know, maybe like Caden, since he's like supposed to go to Red Bull.
Yeah, Caden Clark. I wasn't going to put him on here. The only reason he is on here is because he's already signed abroad. If he hadn't already signed and didn't have he wouldn't be on here because of his performance this year, right? So stuff like that. So and then international appearances as well, right? Like so. Brian Rodriguez would not have made my list. Or would not have been as high up on my list. Let me rephrase that. But he's as high up as he is because he starts every World Cup qualifier for Uruguay and CONMEBOL. Like that's a big. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good description for what we've got. So did you only do 22, or did you have some honorable mentions that we want to talk about first?
Let me pull up.
Doesn't even
list.
have his stuff ready. This is
No,
this is
I have
the guy
I
who's
have my
calling me
list.
saying, we
I
gotta
don't
record, we gotta record, we gotta record.
I don't
Doesn't
think I
have it.
have the honorable mentions.
Wait, what are we doing?
What?
Score for the week.
Oh yeah.
I'm
We're out
trying
of
to drive it.
practice.
So we're recording this an hour before the New York Derby kicks off. So we are trying to fly through it, but we can't skip Scar for the week. Connor, what are you rocking?
Well, yeah, all right. So in honor of the biggest snub from MLS 22 under 22 history, I am rocking the club of the striker that was absolutely ripped off by not being included in this list. I don't
I'll
even
tell
care if he
you.
wasn't on a professional team. He should have been on the list.
I will tell you that I was watching a FIFA YouTuber work, do some like red picks or whatever. And Brian White showed up in some of his red picks and he didn't take them. And I immediately clicked off.
Yeah, I would too.
There was no reason to, right? Like if you're going to be that dumb to pass on something that phenomenal, why bother even existing, you know?
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Mine is a brand new one picked up from an away days trip I made. FC Cincinnati. I thought it was really neat that they did it like a little spin, like a German spin on it. And then on the back, I didn't actually notice this when I picked it up. 513 wiener dogs and hot dogs. It is the FC.
I have so many questions.
FC Cincinnati scarf. I went to Red Bull Cincinnati away a couple weeks ago. That video is going to come out hopefully next week. I think I'm going to try and finish it up. But I was running into the store at the end of the game to try and pick one up because it was such a good atmosphere, so many people, but the lines were super long during the game to go pick one up. And if I'm going to make a trip for an away day, I got to go pick up a scarf, you know? So I asked them if they were still open. I ran in there and I was trying to find which one. I tried to get this is a good material, good thick material. It's not like that silk one. They only had like 4 or 5 of those. And it was like, all right, which one do I want to take? Do I want a boring one or do I want something that's got some flavor to it? Got some flavor to it. So this is.
I don't blame you. It's a good choice.
What's that?
I said it was a good choice.
Yeah, no, it's a good one to the collection. I'm running out of room, so I gotta stop going to away days. But USA Mexico is also being played in Cincinnati. So Matt asked me if I'm going to the game, and I go, I thought it was in Columbus, so I didn't even bother. So I looked at tickets yesterday. Cheapest ticket, highest like row all the way back. Can you guess?
$100.
$400.
Jeez. Oh my
I'm
God.
like, yeah, no thanks.
No wonder the stadium will be half empty.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, right? You're pricing everybody out. Who's going to show up? I think most of them are resell, but there were a few of them that weren't reselling. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, nobody's going to pay this.
Yeah, of course. Why would you?
So stupid. But that's a conversation for another day. Jump into it. You got any honorable mentions you want to talk about? I got 5 more.
I did have honorable mentions when I was making the list, and then I unhighlighted them, so I don't remember all of them exactly. Just kind of like skimming through the list. I remember, I want to say I had Andres Perez, an honorable mention. Anybody else? Maybe if you go, why don't you go through yours and maybe it'll ring a bell if I had someone. But I know I had him as one of my honorable mentions.
Sure. My honorable mention started with Gabby Salina, or Slanina, rather. 17-year-old goalkeeper for Chicago. Has not played a ton, but he's playing
well, isn't he?
He's got 3 clean sheets in 6 appearances against playoff teams.
Yeah.
So he's been playing really, really well. I expect to see him on this list next year. Another one that I put on there was Tyus Magno from NYC. He was once compared to Neymar. in the Brazilian league and was scouted by Liverpool before he went to New York City. So clearly he's got talent, but what does he have? He's got 1 goal in 12 appearances.
Yeah, it's been a
So
slow
can't really
start.
give him that. Akinola was another one I put on there. Obviously, he's on the list right now, but because our list focuses on what happened this year, and he got hurt like right at the beginning of the year, we know that he's good, but obviously can't put him on the list for that. And then another one was Thiago Andrade from NYC as well. 17 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist, no international appearances. Obviously, he can play. He's probably going to score a hat trick. Now that I've said this before the Red Bull game, he's going to score a hat trick today. And the other one I put was Justin Shea. I saw Justin Shea made the list. 2 assists and 13 appearances. FC Dallas have not been good, so it's not like he came back and made them amazing. But Bayern still want him back, and he hasn't really made a bunch of international appearances. So again, based on this season alone, you couldn't put him on there. Not for me. And those are all of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think I had also both of those NYCFC guys. I think they have big potential. It's just been a bit of a slower start for them this season.
Sure.
Who else did I have? I think I had somebody on there that I didn't expect. So there's no way I'm ever going to be able to pronounce this name correctly, but and I can't wait. This is Fuel to your FC Dallas Fire, but
Labaj shown.
Yeah. I was gonna put him because I saw he had like 5 assists already this season. I was like,
he's on my list. Like, he made my list, and I will go into that when we get to him. But he made my list, so we'll have a good
fair
about that.
That's fair. Yeah, I think you're gonna want to save your voice. I have a feeling you're gonna do a lot of yelling this episode.
Not yelling. I'm flexible on positioning unless you made something really bad. But I see it as brackets, right? Like 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 22 type of thing.
So you're saying like if I missed someone like out of a bracket, then you'd
like if you put Pepi at 22, then but like if we go ahead and flop like Cade Cowell and move him one side to the other, like, doesn't matter to me.
No, I hear you. That makes sense.
So as long as you really haven't messed up.
Hopefully I haven't.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to just wait and see.
We'll just have to dive right into it and see what happens. And Grace is already angry at you. I think Grace is found.
She saw my list already.
She saw your list. She's like, "How could you stupid man?" Well, now Grace is gonna stay inside, and probably I'm gonna open her cage so she can go lay down.
Yeah, I think honestly, obviously I took into account mostly the fact of like what they've done this season, but I still I still took a small bit into account as like what they've done thus far in their career. So someone like Tyus Magno, let's just say, like, I really have no idea what they've done prior to this. I mean, I'm sure they've done obviously some stuff to get the hype that they have, but someone like Ayo Akinola, for example, who obviously like was super strong last year, and then obviously just had an injury case where it kind of would, like in your case, take him off your list because he didn't play really at all this year.
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of considered the fact of what he did last season.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to
obviously not as much.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it more focused on like this year. Like, you can tell MLS did the same thing you did, where it was like, oh, Akinola hasn't played, but we know he's good, so he's going to make the list. I wanted to focus on like standout 22 players from this year.
No, totally makes sense. Totally hear you.
Let's jump into it. 22. How do you want to do this? You want to go 22 and?
Yeah, I would say let's go like you'll read off your 22 and then I'll read or like your. We can go like one at a time. Like we could both do our.
So I'll just give you 22. I put Alvaro Barreal from
FCC.
Yeah, I threw an
Oh.
FCC. I threw a second FCC player on there.
Oh my goodness.
So when I went to whoscored.com, we love whoscored.com here.
As we do. That is our only source.
That and transfer market.
Yeah, exactly.
And I look at player statistics and I go detailed, age less than 22, search, and then sort it by rating, sort it by appearances and rating and stuff. He was pretty high up on that list there. He's made 28 appearances and 6.5 rating. He's got better ratings than Paxton Pomykal. Same one as Cade Cowell. Better than Rodney Redes, who didn't make this list. Daniel Levaya. So he's better than Caden Clark too. So I figured he deserved a shot. 3 goals, 3 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists, 27, 28 appearances now. But he is the 12th best player on the first team out. So I couldn't put him up, but I figured he deserved a shout comparatively to the other U22 players.
No, I think that makes sense. He feels a bit more like an established player, considering he's like still within the like under 22 bracket.
Yeah,
I think it hurts that he plays on such a bad team.
Yeah. I feel like if he played somewhere that was a lot better, you'd hear about him a lot more.
Yeah, no, I totally think that's true. And if he was playing with better players around him, I'm sure, his game would be elevated as well. So
yeah.
No, I think that's fair.
Did he make your list?
He did not make my list.
Okay. I'm gonna highlight that as yellow then.
I could not get myself to put a second FCC player on the list.
All right, who was your 22 then?
So my 22, and I have a feeling you might have put him higher in your list, but I put Mamadou Fall at 22.
Mamadou Fall didn't make my list.
He might. I mean, I think he's just starting recently to get some game time.
Correct. He would have been an honorable mention for me.
He's got, I think, 13 appearances so far. I'm not sure if that includes last night or not. 3 goals from center back, which I think is pretty impressive. Kind of reminds me of Donovan Pines' start when he came on last season and was just on fire, just constantly scoring goals from center back. He's 18 years old. He's slotted right into this LAFC back line. I think, he has the potential to be like what Walker Zimmerman was to them, like just a rock solid center back for them who can like get forward and be athletic and score goals. He's had a pretty strong start to the season with a 6.98 on Who Scored. So, I felt, I'd never heard of him until I looked him up, and I was like, wow, he's really had a strong start and a smaller sample size, but I felt it was enough that I could put him on the list. But yeah, I thought, he's looked good so far at the start of the season, breaking into a team that probably is a little weaker defensively, but still like a team that we obviously all know is uber talented.
Right. And
even if they're not showing it this season.
The appearances is what took me off of that, right? I tried to stick with people who were featured more frequently. Or have been, like I said, most of my players have at least 18 appearances, I think is the lowest one I've got. But I tried to pick people who were featuring consistently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
21?
21. So I put Paxton at 21.
Paxton didn't make my list.
He's had, that makes sense based on your criteria. He's had a slow. I think was he injured pretty recently? I'm pretty sure, right? Not like I thought he just came back from like a pretty serious injury. But regardless, I think it's been like a bit of a slower season for him, especially since like he's obviously being overshadowed by a lot of the other younger talent that's breaking out this year on Dallas. But I
He
still taking into account his past, he was for a long time considered to be, or what's felt like a long time considered to be like a hot prospect for the US and for Dallas. And I feel like I remember him kind of having those European rumors floating around about if he would move or not. So I think, that's why he's farther down my list and like still making it just a little bit on like how he was in the past, and I, he's had a slow start to the season, but he's not awful. He's not like putting up like a 6.0 rating. Um, so I wanted to sneak him in at the end of the list because I do still think he's like very talented player.
he hasn't gone a full 90 minutes all season.
And I
He
I had to look up,
he
but
very rarely goes 45.
I could have sworn he just came back from an injury this season.
Which
I'm
yeah,
gonna look
again,
it
but
up.
again, it's criteria, right? The way that I did it versus the way you did it.
So the end of 2020, he had groin surgery and he missed
Yeah.
like a decent amount of games. And then this season in August, he missed with a knee injury. So he's been battling some injuries. I think probably I think Dallas is honestly they're probably doing the right thing and taking it slow with him to try not to get him injured again because he hasn't been playing for a long time. This goes back to 2016, 2017, and he's got like 7 injuries on here already.
Well,
Some of them.
that's always been his issue. Injuries have always been his
So
downfall.
yeah, so I think it's smart that they've taken their time with him. I think they should, not rush anything because I think when he's been healthy, he's shown that he's very talented. And like he's a guy that has the potential to get a move to Europe. Probably not like to a Bayern like Justin Shea, for example, but I think he could definitely get a move to like something similar to like where Busio went. So like a lower tier, like maybe a newly promoted team into like one of the bigger leagues or something, or maybe he goes to like Belgium or Horvath was something like that. I just think obviously, like you said, the injuries are holding him back, and it makes sense if you're looking at just this season why he's not on your list.
Right. And again, it's all criteria, right? My 21 was Romero, the LAFC keeper, the El Salvadorian. 4 clean sheet and 18 appearances, but has stepped into an LAFC team that had Kenneth Vermeer at one point, and Cisniega was really the guy for a while. And he went and took that spot from him. He's had 18 appearances as a 20-year-old. It'll be interesting to see if he can help them get over that playoff line because they are below it right now. But I think his performances as of, taking over that job have given him a spot on here, in my opinion. If not, I know he didn't make it this year, but next year for sure he'll be on here.
Yeah, I feel like obviously you can't blame him for like everything with LAFC season so far. I feel like it would really be something for me to say like something about their defense and then put Mamadou Fall on my list. So I can't really say anything about how they've been defensively this season. I just for some reason just didn't feel like the team in general has been super strong this year. The team has conceded 42. I'm sure he would definitely be an honorable mention for me because he's like one of those guys who's young and has like established himself as like a starter in this league. And I think that's obviously like a big thing is can you get consistent minutes as someone who's like a U22 player? So
right, exactly.
I understand that.
Right. He's been there now. So
yeah,
he gets there for me.
No, I think that makes sense. And it's good that he like although I don't know if is he hurt? No, I don't know if he's playing lately because he got benched, I think, by Jamal Blackman.
Well, that's right. They did bring in Blackman, didn't they?
Yeah, I just looked at the last 2 games and Blackman's been starting.
Well, Bradley's got that team all over the place. He's on the hot seat. He's trying to figure that out real quick.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I think that would be
Mhm.
partial reason why I wouldn't have him in here. But
Okay, listen, I'm
it's
not,
I
as long
totally
as you
get
didn't put him number one.
it.
20.
Your turn. Go
You
for
don't
it.
get to you don't get to call me a homer for this. John Tolkien's 20.
No, I didn't. I'm not gonna say that. John Tolkien's on my list. I have him higher.
Good man. Good man. 19 years old, 1 goal, 1 appearances, but he has played in literally basically every position you can ask him to. He's played as a left back, a center mid. He's gone as a winger at very rare times, but he has. He's done this way sooner than anybody thought he would have. You know, we called him up last year and he got some minutes, but this year he has been really, really good. I watched him play when I went to Cincinnati, and he came off the bench and he just provided that spark to go in and get stuck into challenges and play the ball into dangerous areas. And he's been really, really good. No rumors for transfers yet, no international appearances, but I expect that to change very, very soon.
Yeah, honestly, I think did he start this at the start of the season? I feel like he came
He
in
didn't.
a
He
little bit
came
into
in
it.
when Gutman got hurt. He came in, replaced him, and took Gutman's spot, which is crazy because Gutman was the best college player in like 3 years ago. So
Yeah, Bill Gutman's still playing now, right? How are
oh
they
yeah, no,
lining that
he
up?
plays left center back now, but it's cool because Struber's got the ability to play a lot of people in multiple positions. So he can play left back, left center back. Tolkien can play left back, center mid, left wing. You've got Duncan who can play right back or right center back or center mid. You got Tom Edwards who play right back, right, center back or center mid. A lot of people are able to flip flop. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I thought you would have him a bit higher because I feel like Red Bull surprisingly have been pretty solid this year defensively, and I think
Yep.
he's been a really helpful part in that. And you guys are making a strong push to try to sneak into the playoffs right now. I think the team's been playing a lot better, so I think
Don't say it too loud. You're gonna ruin it.
that's part of my goal. But I feel like Tolkien's been like a huge piece of that this year.
But you got to remember the criteria for me: season, international appearances, potential interest abroad. Doesn't have 2 of those 3 things. That's why I dropped him lower.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for him to get international appearances. I feel like I just think that it's not necessarily a position where they're like, oh man, we're like really looking for someone. And whereas like in the case of Pepi, it was like, oh, striker is like wide open, like anybody could get this job. Whereas left back, it's like you're playing Dest or you're playing Robinson there. It's going to be hard for him to break in. Like he could probably, I guess if he got hot enough, he could maybe sneak in and swap out for Bello, but Bello has just a lot more media and like press around him and how he plays. And I feel like the 2 of them are pretty similar in how they played this season. So I feel like, in that case, they're probably going to give the nod to Bello. So I feel like it's tough for him to break in internationally, but I'm sure he's getting appearances in the like U22 teams
Yeah, I mean,
or whatever.
he'll make his youth appearances, right? But with that left back spot as open as we've seen it, he can put in a good shout for it, I think. But who do you have at 20?
At 20, I have Akinola.
Okay, so that's where we talked about Akinola a little bit.
Yep. I think he had a super strong last year, and then I feel like he would have carried that into this year despite sorry, I heard an alarm going off.
I heard it too.
I feel like he would have carried that into this year, despite the fact that Armis was trying his best to ruin Toronto FC forever.
Armis, double agent, baby, double agent Armis.
I feel like he deserved, in my opinion, I feel like he deserved to be on this list, despite the fact that he got injured. I feel like that's just like it's unfortunate. It's probably mostly out of his control. And I think he was strong enough last year that if he was healthy again this year and even put in like half a decent season, he'd be like at least like low like in the low teens on this
Oh yeah,
list.
no.
Like,
If he put in any sort of shift, and with the appearances for Canada and stuff, he would have probably been low teens is a good shout.
yeah, so I feel like in my opinion, he deserves to still be on here because I think he's a really quality player, and he'll bounce back, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
that's why I got him on here.
Good. What about 19?
So 19, I went with Efren Alvarez. And I think, obviously you think LA Galaxy youngsters, you think of him and you think of Araujo. So I think Araujo has obviously had the much stronger season so far with LA Galaxy, kind of being revitalized under Greg Vanney. Even though they're kind of slowing down at this point, kind of maybe showing their true colors, they were red hot at the start of the season. Alvarez is still playing his part. I just don't think he's had a very strong season, to be honest. I think he's been a little bit underwhelming, but at the same time, you got to remember that he's still like 20. I don't remember how old he is. 20, 21. I don't know. He's still pretty young. And then, I think like a lot of USMNT fans are going to probably be a bit biased against him because I think I don't remember if he switched or if he just outright chose Mexico. I think he just outright chose Mexico, right?
Yeah, outright chose Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't think people should like he played a big part for them even like last year. Like I think he was there's a reason that you think of him and Araujo when you think of LA Galaxy youngsters because he was having an impact on the team. I know Galaxy wasn't as strong last year, but he was still able to, make his mark and like make a name for himself. And he's still getting appearances this year, despite the fact that he hasn't been playing as well. I want to see he's got like and I'm just double checking that now, but I think he has a 6.64 this season. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists, and about 1,000 minutes. So it's not horrible. It's not like the worst stats you'll ever see. But at the same time, it's not like the strongest. He's got less goal contributions than Sebastian Lletget. So tells you something there, right there.
Greg masterclass, baby.
Yeah. So, he's got 13 starts this season, looks like 8 sub appearances. So, he's not in and out a starter every week. So, that dropped him down my list a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to say he's on the original list, but I forget where. I thought they put him.
He put him high, like 12.
Yeah,
14.
I thought so too. I thought they put him up pretty high.
Yeah,
so
12.
I dropped him down a bit. I thought he would still be on the list because, he's a pretty big under 22 name that gets game time for like a strong team still pretty consistently. So I have him on there.
I completely overlooked him. I think I just was scrolling through so many names that I skipped him. So he's right above Paxton Pomykal. And I saw Paxton Pomykal. I said, absolutely not, and just kept scrolling. And then when I went to who scored and I was scrolling through a bunch of stuff, I saw a whole bunch of people I wasn't going to take, and he doesn't have a nationality assigned to him. Mm-hmm. So it's a blank one. So I just skipped right over it. If I were to go back and do this again, which I'd probably slide him a little bit higher than 20 or 19. I'd put him maybe 16 because he has featured for the Mexican national team, hasn't he? He's gotten called in.
He might have gotten called in. Has he played?
I don't know if he's played, but I know he's been a part of it, right?
I'll take a look while you keep talking.
Yeah. So, with the international news, and I know people are scouting him, he would have been higher up on my list, but just completely overlooked him. That's on me.
Yeah, I think he's definitely someone that while he hasn't had the stronger season this season, he's a guy that still definitely fits into this list. And he's only 19, so he's got the potential to definitely move up on this list if he can get some more consistent game time.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause you, dude. Your picture being that crooked is bothering me.
It's supposed to look like that,
but it's like this.
I know. It's supposed to be. Hold on. Maybe it's just like the camera's giving it a weird angle. No, yeah, the camera's definitely giving it a weird angle. It's not it's like it's a diamond, but I could see like in the picture, it's like
it looks like a rectangle.
It looks like it's slanted. Yeah.
No, this is awful. I don't. You damn New York.
I don't know. Hold on. Maybe I can like fix it.
That's better. That's so much better.
I don't know why it does that with the camera.
That is, I was getting really bothered for a second. You New York City kids and your temporary art.
It's not my art. It was here when we got here.
I was about to throw something. My 19 is Moses Nyman. He's being scouted by clubs in France and Belgium. This is the first player on the list who's got people looking at him this year. No international appearances, but 1 assist, 18 appearances, and has been playing really, not, I won't say consistently. He's been in the team for, you know, what the what is it, the 4th best team in the East right now?
No, I think DC's 6th.
I thought they were a lot higher than that.
Yeah, they're 6th right now.
Oh gosh. I thought they were right where Philly was. I think at one point they were. Anyways, you know, when you're 17 years old and you're making that many appearances for a playoff team and getting scouted by clubs in France and Belgium, and, you know, I'm sure I know he's in the youth system in the national team. You're a pretty big deal. So I gave him the number 19.
I didn't have him in my list.
Okay.
I think he's got 10 starts, 9 sub appearances. Doesn't seem like he goes very long in games. He's only got 805 minutes despite being on the field 19 times. I think the sub appearances lower his rating on Who Scored. That's why he's got like a 6.33 because he's got the same rating as Ramon Abila. I think he. Into that again. I think he has the potential to definitely be high on this list. I didn't include him because I still think it's I think it's been, you know, he's 17. Like he's definitely gonna probably, if he doesn't move to Europe, he's probably gonna be on this list next year and like higher up. Yeah, I just don't know if I don't watch DC, so I can't really say whether or not he's had like a super strong season or not. So I couldn't put him on the list for me.
Gotcha. Like I said, I'm cool with it either way. Update though, by the way, Toronto and Chicago both eliminated, and Austin, all eliminated from playoff contention this week. My boys Houston still have a chance of getting top 4, like I predicted. Yeah, we've got 30 minutes to knock out as much as we can before we take a pause here. So we'll go up to 18.
Yeah,
that's me. I put Diber Caicedo. Okay. 18. It was not my favorite rating, but I feel like Vancouver deserves somebody because they've been pretty decent, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're almost in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure.
They're fighting for playoffs when realistically they probably should be eliminated by this point last year, right? And he's been a big part of that. He's had 4 goals, 5 assists, 28 appearances. He's the 4th best rated player on their team. Has not had any rumors thus far, but you know, he's been real good this year. And for a player under 22 to be the top 4 on your team, got to give it to him, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think he's been a super strong player this year.
Yeah. Did he make?
I feel like you got him pretty low.
You put him higher?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got 4 goals, 5 assists as an under 22 player. There's not a lot of guys on this list that have that many goal contributions this season.
Well, MLS put him 21, so
MLS is high. I don't know what to tell you.
I put him a bit higher than that. I think you might have overrated him, but we'll see how high you put him.
Maybe we'll find a middle ground.
Yeah.
And then that'll be fair. They put Brian Rodriguez 4. You're really going to go off what MLS puts?
Fair. 17. Or no, you're 18. You're 18.
Yeah, my 18, I put Kate Cowell. So obviously has a lot of hype around him. And was red hot at the start of the season. Like when San Jose was taken off, you know, he was a big part of it, scoring goals, getting assists, you know, getting involved in the play. And now that San Jose has really cooled off and come back to reality, I feel like it's been the same for him. And it seemed like he wasn't really getting starting appearances anymore. He was coming off the bench, and it reminded me a lot of Caden Clark. Like the two of them just started out the season red hot, getting a ton of hype, getting goal contributions, and then nowadays they've really like taken a step back. And like obviously you still got to like keep it in context. Like Kate Cowell's like 17, maybe 18. He's super young. So like to do what he's already done is incredible. So like absolutely deserves to be on this list in my opinion. But I think the recent cold streak from him dropped him down my list a bit more.
Sure, he's a little bit higher for me. Again, my criteria were, scouting people who are looking at you.
Yeah.
He was being scouted by Barcelona as of August. Like that, you don't laugh at that. So he's not top 10, but that scouting alone. But
yeah, I'm okay bumping him up. I feel like that's fair. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists. Caicedo only has 1 more assist, but I just feel like, Cal. It doesn't seem like Cal's getting a lot of starts anymore.
No, and
I'll
he
double
shouldn't
check it.
right? And he shouldn't be. But no, like I said, it works for me. I'm fine with putting him there. Like I said, I tried to sort it between good players who have no international, no scouting, good players with no international but scouting, good players with international but no scouting, and then good players with international and scouting, and then great players. So that's kind of the way I visualized it. Who do you got at 17?
17, I put Justin Shea.
Okay, so that's where you put Shea.
Yeah. Did you? I don't remember. Did you say you had him as an honorable mention?
Honorable mention. Yep.
Yeah. So I kind of figured he would be on your list because he does get the he's obviously getting scouted. He was at Bayern.
He's not really getting scouted though. That's the thing. Like Bayern was just like, yeah, we'll take him back on a loan. Nobody else is going like, man, we really need this guy. And he's also 17 with 13 appearances. So
Bayern's willing to take him back. I mean, that's
Bayern
a lot more than a lot of these guys can say on the list. Bayern's one of the best teams in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he wouldn't, be factoring into their starting 11.
He'd get loaned out all the time.
Probably, yeah. He'd be like Chris Richards.
Matt Miazga. What?
I said Chris Richards, but
I said Matt Miazga.
Anyway, I put him on. I know it's small. He's had like 11 starts and 2 sub appearances, so it's like probably the smallest sample size of anybody that's on here. But it looks like he's had a good influence on the team. He's got a 6.83 rating, 2 assists from right back. Obviously, Dallas have struggled a lot this season, which is surprising when you hear about like all the hype that their players have. Like Pepi, Jesus Ferreira, and then Justin Shea as well. Yeah, so I mean, definitely, I'm open to dropping him down a little bit more just because of how poor Dallas has been defensively. And obviously he's a part of that defense. So while he's not the blame for all the defensive problems, at the same time, you can't just forget that he's a part of the back line. I think I always feel like I got too influenced by the hype with him here because it seems like he's not getting as much game time anymore either. So he's probably a bit higher than I should have put him.
I mean, listen, MLS had him at 16, so you're not far off of whatever.
Well, that's how I know I got it wrong because I put it similar to what MLS had it.
Like I said, next year if he stays, we'll revisit. But right now,
he'd probably make the list next year.
Yeah, right now, not for me.
No, I think I definitely shouldn't have put Kate Cowell behind him. Probably a few of these guys. I'd probably should drop him down more. But
the face of regret, everybody. The face of regret.
Honestly.
My 17, I also regret because I should have put him in the trash bin with all the rest of the Mexican national team players. But it's the snake, David Ochoa. This is one of the first players who has international appearances on our side. So 4 clean sheets and 19 appearances for RSL. He's got 2 call-ups to the men's national team for friendlies. And he played really well in the failed Olympic qualification run for the US U23s. He's also got a bit of I don't know what the word is, but he's got some sort of swagger about him where he's just gonna, get into fights with anybody that he can. And then he switched allegiances to be on the second best team in CONCACAF just to sit on the bench. So that
Debatable second best team. Canada might be ahead.
I said Canada's up there too. That's fair. But listen, the guy can play. We know he can play. We watched him play at the U23 level. He's been starting for RSL. He, I haven't seen any rumors yet, but I'm sure people are looking at him in, League MX and other areas. And those guys are pretty quiet about who they look at. So I tossed him on there. I don't like it, but he's a bum. Whatever.
No, I mean, say what you want. The guy definitely deserves to be on here.
Did he make your list?
Yeah, he's on my list.
Okay, so he's higher up than 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's. I mean, say what you want about him internationally, but he's been a quality player for RSL, who are 5th in the standings right now. So, he's obviously had a huge impact on it. He's got 20 starts this season.
Yep.
Not a lot of guys on this list can get that amount of game time at U22, but
that's right.
I think he definitely deserves to be on this list. He's a good keeper. It's weird. I was thinking about it as you were talking about it. I was like, it almost seems like the more game time you get here, the less hype you get in Europe.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of joke about that with Dallas. It's like, because the guys go off to Europe and they never play a game for them. But it's like, you see guys like Ochoa, or you see guys like DK, or it's like they're getting good game time here. And then like they get rumors of, and DK was, I don't feel like DK was getting big rumors until he did what he did at Barnsley. So like, these guys get rumors to like maybe championship, like low level top 5 league teams. Whereas someone like Justin Shea doesn't even play a game for Dallas. And then is like, Bayern's like, oh yeah, we want him.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's so confusing.
16.
Is this one me or is it you?
I believe it's.
I think it's you.
Who did you have at 17?
Shea.
Yeah, so it's me.
Yeah.
I put Pereira, Andres Pereira from Orlando.
2
goals and 22 appearances from the defensive mid spot at 20 years old. Has an appearance for the men's national team. First person to make an actual appearance for the proper team against Trinidad, but made an appearance. He also played every game in the Olympic qualifying campaign. So he's got a ton of international experience. Yes, on the U23 level, but he was like top 3 players on that team, even though they failed to qualify. No rumors yet, but I would say keep an eye on him. You didn't rank him.
He was one of my honorable mentions because I thought when I was looking him up that he was, because I know Orlando's like in a weird position where they have like 3 really solid like defensive midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was like the odd man out when I looked at it, but I'm looking at it again and maybe he is getting game time. I'm just about to double check it now.
Yeah. I think they're rotating already.
So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in his last 11 games, he's made 4 starts, and he missed 6 of those games, didn't play at all, and then once he came on for 9 minutes. So lately, he hasn't been getting a ton of game time.
Yeah, he might be a little high. Like I said, I'm still messing around with ratings as we kept going. He probably could go a little bit lower.
Honestly, it seems like if we just kind of averaged out where we put these guys,
it's probably where they belong in it.
Yeah, we would have a really solid list.
Yeah, we'll have to do that right at the very end. We'll have to do that. Who'd you have at 16?
16, I put Brian Rodriguez. I thought 4 was way too high for him.
4 was definitely way too high. Yep.
And maybe I have him a little bit too low, but I think he.
I think if we averaged out where we put them, I think
it would probably work. He came back from his absolutely failure loan in Spain. Like that was supposed to be, I think, his move. Like that's the big money move that they brought him in for. It was supposed to be
his move, yes. And they were just like,
and it didn't work at all because he just didn't play. So then he came back, and he came back with a huge bang. I'm pretty sure like the first game back, he got 2 goals or something like that. One of the first games back. And then has he done anything since then? He's got 2 goals and 1 assist.
Two
So
goals and 1 assist in 9 games.
yeah, but didn't he get those 2 goals in the same game?
Same game.
So then he's got 10 appearances so far on the season. So if he had the 2 goals in the one game, then in the other 9 games this season, he's got 1 assist in a team that's supposed to be that's like one of the best attacking teams on paper. And maybe some of that's Bob's fault and like how he's playing him. I just feel like even when he was here, he was underwhelming. Like I know he was obviously getting game time and was still putting up some numbers, which like a lot of these U22 guys, you maybe can't say the same thing, but I just feel like he's been so underwhelming since he's been here.
I'm looking at the list that MLS put out. They put Kate Cowell at 7. Anyways, yeah, I have him a little bit higher, but again, it's because of the international appearances, right? So if we average it out, he's probably in the right spot. We'll do one more here before we have to break for Derby Day.
You got 15 more minutes.
This one's going to take 15 minutes. I promise you. Who'd you have at 15?
We'll power through.
Who'd you have at 15?
At 15, I have Kevin Paredes. So.
Oh, you got him low.
You know what? It looks like he's had a strong season because he has strong ratings on Who Scored. But I'm pretty they play him as a winger, right? Unless they play
him as a left wing, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like he's had a strong season. He has a good influence on the team. But he also has like 1,500 minutes this season as a winger and has 2 goals and 0 assists. So it seems like he has a lot of influence. Like he definitely is like a good player for them. And I probably could move him up a bit, but he's an attacker that doesn't have really much in terms of goal contributions.
I don't think he's an attacker. I think he's an outside back.
I think that's the case.
They're playing him as an attacker, I think. Or like as a wing back in the back 5 type of thing. But I think his calling is outside back, like wing back.
Okay, so I just looked at it, and it seems like majority of it they play him as a defensive left midfielder.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a pivot thing where he'll slide into the outside back, then in attack he'll go into that like central area. It's very. If
that's the case, then I would definitely move him up. I assumed that they were playing him as a winger. I always assumed that he was an attacker for them.
Yeah, I think he started out as an attacker, and they kind of dropped him in when they realized, he's better as a 2-way player.
Okay, then I would definitely move him up this list because it looks like he's had a strong season. I just assumed as an attacker, only having 2 goal contributions, like 1,500 minutes, dropped him a bit down for me. But yeah, I would definitely bump him up a bit more.
Yeah. Again, if we average that number out, I think it's probably the right spot for him.
Yeah,
we're gonna average it out at the end of this, and we'll make a final like
a consolidated list.
Yeah, what you'll have to do, you'll have to rank your honorable mentions, like just 23 to whatever. My number 15, I'm certain actually didn't exist before about 4 days ago.
Oh God.
FC Dallas signed Schlabaj Schoen for $1.2 million. Nobody knew about it. I can't even speak. I'm so angry. You want to know the first time I found out this guy existed is when he got called in the Hungarian national team for the Euros.
Something pops up on the screen. They're like
Euros, and nobody in the league knew he existed.
Can you imagine you're watching the Euros? This would be like a fever dream for you. You're watching the Euros. It pops up. He's like plays for FC Dallas. You'd be like, that's a joke, right?
No way. Like if I didn't see the snippet and I watched the Hungary game and he comes on as like an FC Dallas player, I would have blown up our group chat for hours explaining how this team doesn't exist. But how does that happen? How do you have a team that signs somebody, a U21 player, for $1.2 million and nobody says a word? And I have to find out about it doing research for a podcast.
It's because he's not a South American player. They only care about young South American players. It doesn't.
That's fair.
It doesn't. You could bring in young European talent. This dude could literally be like on the verge of getting into like the Barcelona team. He's just not going to get anything. No hype.
So ergo, $1.2 million signing on fee. U21 player. Nobody knew about it. Ergo, FC Dallas aren't a real team. Anyways,
Case closed.
Case closed. I rest my case. We need to have somebody from FC Dallas come in, and we just need to have a debate. Like, prove to me why your team is real.
Oh God.
It's like sitting down with like a flat earther or like a birds aren't real guy. Just be like, explain to me your position.
Yeah, that's honestly. I saw him and I had the same reaction. I was like, I've never heard of this guy. Like, how is this U21 player have like 6 assists already?
Like I said, he's producing too. He's producing.
Yeah, he's been so good.
6 assists in 19 appearances.
I know.
For a
in
team
800
that
minutes,
like a goal
crazy.
every 3 games.
Yeah, honestly, if I could redo the list, I think I'd sneak him in towards the back of it. I don't know if I'd throw him up this high, and honestly, I couldn't tell you why. I don't even know why I wouldn't throw him up this high because it looks like he's been so good.
He is up here this high simply because he made 2 appearances for Hungary in the Euros and 3 appearances in World Cup qualifiers so far. So clearly he's an established international, which apparently is a big deal because if you read the list MLS put out, their first comment is, this player is already a well-established Uruguayan international, so we have him at number 4. So evidently, if you play for your national team, I guess you play for a European national team, then
Brian Rodriguez is to play for a European national team.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, he's been really quietly good, and I mean quietly, like nobody knows he exists. So I put him up there, and I think if we're talking about a person who got snubbed, like properly snubbed, I think he was that guy.
Yeah,
I put him there above Paxton Pomykal.
They can't. Here's the thing: they can't put him on the list because they can't let the public know about his identity. He must remain a secret Dallas player.
They can't let him know that Dallas have real players.
I don't even think he's on the snub list. Like, he's just nowhere. Like,
no,
he will just never exist.
I haven't seen a proper snub list, but he's not on any list. Like, that's criminal.
He doesn't exist.
It's criminal.
Yeah, honestly, I'm getting more on board with you now with this whole like FC Dallas is a team of fake players.
Bro, I don't mess around with this type of stuff. You know, I'm dead ass. Like this team isn't real.
Like, you remember when we were talking, I feel like at the beginning of the season when Adam was still around, about Nkosi Burgess? Because like that was the guy that you guys used to play with or something?
I played against him in a few games back home.
You know, he's got 20 appearances this season?
And he changed his last name to Tafari. But yeah, he starts now for them.
What? Like,
yeah,
what?
Exactly. But again, if you're looking at Who Scored doesn't have great assist tracking for MLS because it doesn't do
the second assist.
The second assist. Oh, actually no, he is there. So he's got the same amount of assists as Jefferson Soteldo in
probably less time.
23. So he has 800 minutes. 6 assists in 800 minutes. It's like an assist a game.
I know. It's crazy.
He's got more assists than Ezequiel Barco, Pedro Santos, Randall Leal, Ryan Hollingshead, Blanco, Buchanan, Arujo, Victor Vasquez, Carlos Vela.
I know.
Like, he is tearing it up, and nobody knows he exists. It's just criminal.
With how much this league hypes up talented youngsters too. Like it's criminal that they
Oh,
don't.
dude, that dude would be on the first hype train out of here if he played for like NYC.
If he just played, imagine he played for the U.S. men's national team. This dude would have
If
so much
he was
hype.
an American, yeah, absolutely.
So much hype. Crazy.
It's unbelievable how much he's some random Hungarian guy.
You
Which
know
is
what?
what Daniel Shallowy was until he blew up this year.
It doesn't help that he doesn't score goals. Like he's only assisting because it seems like people only care if they score goals.
What does
like,
Carlos Gil do? 2 goals and 13 assists. What does everybody care about? Exactly.
It feels different for him just because like he has the name already.
Yeah.
Like he was an established player when he came here.
Yeah.
But like if you're a youngster, like look at Ricard, like Pepi obviously deservedly gets a ton of hype because he's banging in goals like crazy. But Jesus Ferreira has been so good this season, and nobody mentions it.
Not a word.
Yeah. Why? Because he only has half the goals that Pepi does. But dude has 6 assists this season as well. 6 goals, 6 assists. That's crazy. This dude should absolutely get almost just as much hype as Pepi does. He's been just as good this season. That's a good rant to go into the pause.
I told you this was going to take a while. All right, we will be
I
back
didn't
with
expect
probably a new background.
Let's just let's continue it when Red Bull goes to halftime.
We can do 15 minutes at halftime, get 1 or 2 more players done. Yeah, sure.
Might as well.
Yeah, I can't lie. I'll tell you that afterwards. Anyways, we'll be right back.
What are you talking about?
Your name is Winnie's name, but that's okay. Just so we are back from our break. Oh no, it's upside down. Scarf change.
Again?
Scarf change. Because
I kept it the same.
What a loser.
Still the same episode.
I was like, you could have brought out the Derby scarf, but then you would have been on the losing end because New York's red once again, always is, always will be. Just like
I have a Red Bull scarf yet.
Well, you probably should get one.
They must have not been on sale. I don't know what to tell you.
It's because they have nothing left to sell. Everything is just flying off the shelves for the best team in the league.
Yeah, except tickets. Those aren't flying off the shelf.
That was uncalled for, man.
that one hit home.
I don't want to record the rest of this episode. And now I want to go. I need to take a nap now. That wasn't cool. Anyways, we are on number 14. I'll let you go first because we already talked about my 14.
Okay. I put Brenner at 14. Obviously, I would say arguably nobody had more hype coming into the season than Brenner. Huge signing, lots of potential, play striker. So like that's, probably arguably the most exciting position on the field in terms because they're the ones scoring the goals. And he definitely hasn't lived up to it, but I'm not going to say he's been the worst signing ever because he hasn't. He's still, I think he's got 7 goals this year.
Yeah, he's 7 goals, 1 a game, and 1 assist in 28 games. So
yeah, and I don't fully blame him because I'm sure he's not getting help at all because it's FCC.
Oh man, when I watched them last week, I mean, it was the most confusing system. I don't know what Yapstam was doing, but he was like trying to play a left wing as an inverted center mid. Like Luciano Acosta never had a set position, so he was like free roaming, and Brenner never learned where to go. It was a mess. They just couldn't put 3 passes together. So definitely not on him, no.
Yeah, and I think systematically, I feel like Brenner should have that relationship with Lucci that Wayne Rooney had. Not necessarily in the style of play, but those two should be like playing off each other and like running this team the same way that they did in DC. Mm-hmm. So, I think some of it will come with more time to play together. I think some of it will come with a proper coach who knows how to play them together.
Much better coaching, yeah.
Again, still, I understand he's like way behind in the goals that we were expecting from him, only to have 7 so far this season, but it's not a situation where I'm like, oh my God, he looks just absolutely like there's no hope for him. Like I still have plenty of hope for him to be a quality player in this league, and I still think there's plenty of talent there for him.
Yeah, I mean, with the team that he is in and the way that they are playing, 7 goals is great, right? So I take none of that away from him. My 14 was Cade Cowell. We talked about Cade Cowell already. The reason he's higher for me, which we talked about already, as of May, he was being scouted by Barcelona. And with my criteria being people scouting you, that weighs a little bit more for me. So, cool. 13. My 13, or no, I went. You went first. I go.
Yeah.
Now. My 13 is Caden Clark. The only reason he's up here is because he's already been signed to Leipzig and is back. And again, based off of criteria, I need to keep him higher. But yeah, ever since he got hurt, he's been non-existent. So didn't even feature in the Derby win. Just make sure I throw that out there. The Derby win this afternoon. So, I wouldn't be shocked to see him not playing for Leipzig, being loaned out somewhere else in 2022. But he's got 4 goals, 2 assists in 21 appearances. But realistically, he's got 4 goals and 2 assists in like 7 because he got them all at the beginning of the year before he got hurt. So, yeah, I think they had him at like 8 on the list. I had to drop him a little bit.
Yeah, they had him at 8. So surprisingly enough, guess who I have at 13?
You're kidding. We got one right.
I have Caden Clark at 13 also.
Let's go. That's hype.
I was hoping we'd have some overlap. But yeah. I agree with pretty much everything that you said. Obviously had a flying start to the season. We knew the potential going in, knew that he basically was already going off to Europe. And then he got hurt. And then just ever since that point, it seems like there's no and I don't know if this is a two-way thing with Red Bull and with Caden Clark, but it doesn't seem like there's any push to like really try to get him out there and like get him more exposure, like get him more game time. It's like, okay, let's take it easy. Like we don't want to get you into injury troubles like early on in your career.
Right. Which is actually cool because I think when Red Bull realized that, like Red Bull Global realized when something isn't working, they don't force it on anybody. So like they tried for years to make Jesse Marsh play 4-2-2, and he never had the personnel for it. And he would eventually say, "Screw it, we're going 4-2-3-1," and we would ball. And they never forced him to go back. They would always make him start there, but they would never force if it didn't work. So good.
Yeah, I see a nice loan right to Brendan Aronson FC for Caden Clark.
Yep, I wouldn't doubt
Keep him in the system.
I mean, I would hope that he would stay in Austria and not come back to New York, even though I like the kid. But I think he's probably needs to get put in a team that is better than let's dump it and press high and see what happens. 12.
So 12, looking back at it now, I think I put him a little too high. I would probably drop him down, but like we said before, when we average it out, it'll work out well. But I have John Tolkien at 12.
I had a feeling you'd put him that high.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not exactly sure why I got so high on him, just like looking him up.
Because he's an absolute baller.
I still think that he is like a really quality player. I mean, he got another clean sheet today. And kind of like you said before, like the versatility to kind of play all around the defense, where I feel like Red Bull has been a bit hectic in terms of having a solid back line. At such a young age to step in and be versatile and still do a good job throughout like any of the positions that he's playing and being like a key factor in Red Bull making this late season playoff push. I think people don't hear about him much as you would like Sam Vines when he was here or George Bello. but I definitely think he's like right in that conversation for, like next gen left back. I think the hype will continue to grow with him, especially if New York can sneak into the playoffs. I think that would help a lot. But like I said at the start, I do think I put him a little bit too high. I'd probably drop him down a bit more, but I definitely think people are sleeping on him, especially since he wasn't included in the top or in the MLS's 22 list.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he is definitely going to be there next year for sure. But yeah, he's definitely a big snub from the major list, the proper list, because he's just been so good and he steps up to every challenge he has. So, my 12 was Cole Bassett. 4 goals, 3 assists, 26 appearances at 20 years old. He's up here this high because he turned down Benfica last month. He straight up said no to Benfica. Everything was agreed. He's just like, I'm good. I'm going to try and win a title with Colorado. So you'll be seeing other offers from him. But yeah, he's a bit higher for me because of those rumors and the way he's playing. Yeah.
He's a quality player. I think it was probably a smart move for him to turn that down, just because I feel like I can't see him getting consistent game time at Benfica right now. But I think he continues to develop a little bit more here. He can get a move to a team where he can actually, I think it would be smart for him to go somewhere where he can get game time every game. And then, like if he continues to play well, that puts you right into the men's national team picture. And we know how good the midfield is for the men's national team. It would definitely, he's going to need something like that if he wants to get into the picture.
So for sure. Did he make your list?
Yeah, he does make my list.
Okay.
Do you think I'm going to leave Cole Bassett off? That would be criminal.
I do. But yeah, so I think
obviously I have him higher though.
He's done a really good job with Colorado, getting them third in the West as of right now, with a pretty comfortable cushion against Portland and then RSL so far behind. He's basically fighting for top 2 in the West right now, which would turn into realistically top 3 in the Shield race. So obviously he's a major part of that. So you can't knock him for that. He was put on. Where did they put him? He was number 10, so I dropped him a little bit. Yeah, it's because I played a few people higher than that. 11.
I have Ochoa at 11.
You don't put snakes that high. Snakes are afraid of that type of height.
I think despite international affairs, I think he has had a very solid season for RSL this season, being the 6th, maybe, I guess if we're talking actual starters, like consistent starters, he's like the 5th highest rated player on that team that's currently sitting in 5th place in the West right now. So, I think he's been a very influential player for them, being able to start pretty much consistently game in, game out. And he is, even when he was still playing with the US, he was in and around the picture, getting call-ins, maybe not necessarily playing, but playing with the youth team, getting call-ins for the top level team. And then, I'm sure he's right in the picture with Mexico as well. So, he's a guy that clearly has a lot of talent. He's definitely got like a bright future as long as he continues to stay healthy and keep playing. And, for me, I always like to see the under 22 players getting like consistent game time and playing a lot, because then that tells me like, oh, like there's all these guys who have a lot of experience and like are probably quality players as well. But, I'm someone that just came onto the scene. Like I've definitely been like making a name for myself and playing well if I can consistently get game time over people who have seniority over me.
I think you just like it. He starts fights with fans.
The Minnesota thing that was pretty funny.
That's pretty legendary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's like not necessarily to the same heights, but it's in the ballpark of Henry Kessler.
Henry Kessler will be forever legendary.
Oh, forever. Just call him into the men's national team now.
It's where he belongs, right? My 11 was Christian Cáceres. Red Bull's best player this year, pretty much bar Carlos Coronel, but you could tell how influential he was or is when he leaves for international duty with Venezuela. We're just a different team without him. He has played in 8 of Venezuela's World Cup qualifying games, and he played every one of their Copa America games. Has 4 goals, well, now 5 goals and 2 assists in 22 appearances, because he scored to beat the Pigeons from New York City today, in case you hadn't heard.
I did.
Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your whole block probably heard too when you were yelling when they scored.
Yes, I sure hope they did. They need to know. He hasn't been linked with anybody super large yet, but I can see that changing pretty soon. The way that he plays and controls the midfield, he is. When we signed him at age 17 or whatever to Red Bull 2, he was a Tyler Adams replacement, and he's actually probably improved upon what Tyler Adams has done based on his attacking contribution as well. I think it's criminal that they put him as low as 20. But alas, what am I going to do?
No, I agree with you. It's extremely criminal if they put him that low. Probably because, again, he doesn't get the same hype because he plays for Red Bull.
The world doesn't want us to be good, but here we are. My number 10, going into those soon to be single digits. Number 10 is for me Brian Rodriguez, and the only reason he's that high, and I mentioned this at the start, started 9 World Cup qualifiers with an assist, and is called in for other things too. He was being looked at all over the place before he went to LAFC, and he went to, he had a failed spell at Almeria, but a ton of clubs were after him, and he has fallen off a bit. But yeah, I think he's up there because of his, as MLS will put it, established international status.
Yeah, I think I don't remember what he was. How did he do before he got the move to Spain? Like, I know he was playing pretty consistently, and he was definitely overshadowed by like Rossi and Vela, but I kind of feel like I remember him still putting up decent numbers. I'm gonna try to double check, but
Brian Rodriguez, LAFC. History.
oh no,
He's got 6 goals in 3 years.
Yeah,
11 assists to be fair to him, but
he's got 17 goal contributions in 3,000 minutes.
Yeah, not great, not ideal, not for somebody who is supposed to be your big money mover, right?
Yeah. All right, so my number 10, I went with Caicedo. I think he has been. I think he's what?
That is ridiculously high.
He's been. I feel like people are underestimating how good he's been this season. And I get it. It's hard to play in the shadow of Brian White. I mean, you will get overshadowed a lot. But 4 goals, 5 assists in a team that's challenging for the playoffs right now. A team that I'm
28 appearances though. It's not like he's coming off the bench and just lighting the world on fire.
Right, he's getting consistent game time.
That's excessive. I think you're.
He's got a good rating as well. It seems like he is influential even when he's not scoring or assisting. And it's a team that I think is getting better and is making a strong case for the playoffs. And again, I feel like he gets a bit overshadowed because he plays with like Brian White, who like is getting a lot of the attention lately because he's been red hot. He gets overshadowed by Ryan Gauld, who has come in and has really like made it his own playing for Vancouver. So there's a lot of other good attacking players there, but I still feel like even with all these guys coming in, he still is able to maintain his starting spot and still have a good influence on the team, putting up, good goal contribution numbers for someone who is also in his first year here. I mean, we see a lot of guys. Go look at all the guys on NYCFC. A lot of guys have come in here and they struggle to kind of get acclimated. But he's come in and he's maybe not hit the ground like completely running. He's not flying start like when Vela first came here, but he certainly is holding his own here and adapting much better than I kind of expected him to. And if he sticks around, which knowing Vancouver, I doubt it. He'll probably be gone by the end of the season. But if he does stick around, I feel like there's high potential for him to continue to do well and continue to be on the list. Although I do understand that I probably put him a little bit high. Again, I think our average will kind of balance it out well. But I see him very highly. I think he's had a pretty strong season, especially for it being his first season here. So that's why I put him up at 10.
Yeah, you're grasping at a lot of straws there. I don't disagree that he's been good, but 10th best U22 player in the league good is a stretch.
Guess we'll just have to see the 9 ahead of him. Should we move to 9? Good to go?
We're not good to go, but we'll move to 9 because I don't want to hear you talk about that.
You'll probably like my 9 a bit better.
I don't know if I will.
So at 9, I think it's my turn to go first. Yeah. So at 9, I put Christian Cáceres.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I remember when you were first telling me about him. I think it was right after Tyler Adams left, and you were like,
Yep.
"Oh, Adams is leaving, but we have this new guy that's coming in. He's supposed to be the replacement, and it's Christian Cáceres." And I was like, in my head when you were telling me about it, I was like, "Oh boy, yeah, okay, like he's gonna live up
As
to like
the general response to anything I say to you ever."
yeah." Like, oh boy, like I was like, oh yeah, sure, he's gonna live up to Tyler Adams' hype, like, and get this big money move to RB Leipzig and all that. But he has been so good for them this season, so good for you guys. I mean, he's got, I think he's, what is he up to? I think after today, he's up to 8 goal contributions on season, and he's playing in the midfield somewhere, maybe a bit more attacking.
Playing more of an attacking midfielder, yeah.
Yeah, he's been the most consistently solid guy, I feel like, for your team this season. He's been like the I don't want to I kind of feel like I want to say like the heart of the team this season. Like he just feels like it.
He's been our best player, no question.
Yeah. And I think, Red Bull's been up and down at moments this season, but I just feel like he's been so consistently good throughout the whole season. I feel like he's a big part of that team that is red hot right now, and doing it all while he's still considered to be a U22 player. Again, still getting that consistent game time as well. So it was pretty easy for me to put him high up on the list.
Yeah, no, he's good. He has transformed that role a little bit, but yeah, no question. He's been, like I said, who scored has Sean Davis higher than him, but no. Sean Nealis, no. Gutman, maybe. Duncan, maybe. But Cáceres for, he's got 7 goal contributions now in just over 1,600 minutes. Which means when you look at Diver Caicedo's 9 goal contributions in like over 2,600 minutes.
He's only got 2,000 minutes.
Sure. Anyways, it raises a little bit of your eyes jump up a little bit for it. So he is, definitely our best player. No, I think 9 is probably a good spot for him. I'm not concerned with that placement. My number 9 is Bernier. We talked about him already, but he's up here that high because of the people who were looking at him before he signed for FCC, which include the likes of Arsenal, Juve, Lazio, Milan, PSG, and Ajax. When your potential interest abroad is a criteria, that moves you up pretty high. Good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Number 8. Jesus Ferreira. 6 goals, 6 assists, 22 appearances for a god-awful FC Dallas side. Also 2 goals, 3 assists for the USA. All in one game against Trinidad. 20 years old. He's got international appearances, international goals. No interest abroad, but I feel like there is. I just haven't found an article about it. I feel like I remember hearing that. And 12 goal contributions and 22 appearances. How many does Caicedo have?
Hey, listen, there's a reason Caicedo's behind him.
9 and 28. It's not right. It's just not right. Anyway,
I didn't put Caicedo ahead of him.
yeah, but it's still not right. So yeah, he is clearly in a team that's that bad, playing really, really well. And I wouldn't be surprised to start hearing rumors about him jumping.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I think he has been overshadowed a lot this season with the justified hype of Ricardo Pepi.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 8, I went with Bello.
All right, you dropped him a little bit lower. All right.
Yeah, obviously, as an Atlanta fan, I'm all aboard the George Bello hype train. There's nothing I love more than seeing Atlanta players represent for the men's national team. Love the meteoric rise of Miles Robinson this season. It's been great. I mean, at the moment, he's arguably the number 1 center back in the men's national team picture. So I love that. And I love that Bello's getting in the picture as well, even if he's not necessarily ahead of Robinson in the pecking order. But I think he's got a ton of potential. He's a super solid player in the league. He came back yesterday against Toronto, and he played so well. He was really a great force going forward. All that being said, I still think there's some areas to improve with him. Obviously, I'm sure everybody on this list, you can find some area to improve on. There are times where I feel like he is a bit shaky defensively. Obviously, as a left back, I feel like your priority should be defense, and then anything you could add attacking is obviously great to add as well. But you're still part of the defensive line, and I do think he'll get better at it. Obviously, and not to say that he's a bad defender at all, but I just think that he could be a bit better at it, a bit more consistent. But yeah, overall, I like his game a lot. I think he's got super potential. I'm sure he's getting scouted for moves in Europe, even if it's not in the media. But yeah, probably maybe being a bit harsh on him because he plays for my favorite team. So, but I'll be curious to hear your take on him in probably a few picks.
Yeah. He's higher for me because of his what's being attracted to him outside of or what his interest is outside of MLS. So we'll cover that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. 7.
7. I have Leon Flock at 7.
Okay.
I think Flock has burst onto the scene this season. Not surprisingly, doing well in a team that gives lots of opportunities to young people with Philly. I think he has been rock solid for them. Great midfield player for them. I'm sure I don't remember. Is he representing the U.S.? I thought at first he was with Germany.
He was a German youth national, I believe. He was called into. I'll double check, but I thought he got called into men's national team.
I thought so too. Assuming he is.
Oh, he was on the short list, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, I think so.
He never made it.
Assuming he's playing with the men's national team, if he keeps this up, he's certainly getting a call up at some point. Mm-hmm. I would think for at least like a January friendly, something like that.
Oh yeah, he when we do our January list.
Oh, he's going to be on there for sure.
Number 1.
Yeah.
He holds dual citizenship, by the way.
What'd you say?
Dual citizenship, by the way.
Dual citizenship. Okay. I would assume he would go with the U.S. because he's got a shot to probably get into the picture there. I'd be very surprised if he was in the picture at all for Germany. regardless, if he keeps this up, he's certainly going to be in the conversation to get into the picture for actual meaningful games with the men's national team. Probably a little bit off of that right now. I think he's still like a little bit too young in a position where it's tough to break through. But he's been obviously a big part of Philly's success again this year, despite them kind of turning over a couple of their key players. And I would say the only thing that kept me from moving him up a little bit further is just the fact that he plays as a defensive mid. And that's like a position that I feel like you would have to watch consistently, like Philly games, to get a sense of like exactly how good he's been for them. Because it's hard to just read it on like a who scored thing and be like, oh, he's only got one goal. It's like, well, he plays defensive mid. That's not really his job. They give him a 6.67 rating. I feel like that's kind of low, but that also, it gave me a little bit of caution to like move him up a bit more. So I felt pretty comfortable putting him around 7. But if someone who watched Philly consistently was like, yeah, he should be a little bit higher, I probably wouldn't argue with it. I would agree with him.
Mine's definitely a little bit biased because I have come out constantly and said how much I enjoyed watching him play and I like where he's going. So I have him a bit higher, and that's probably a little bit biased, but alas. My 7 is Paredes. Again, not a ton of stats don't favor him in the attacking end, but it's his style of play that brings him that high for me. He plays so much older than he actually is, right? If you watched him play, you wouldn't guess that he's an 18-year-old. He plays like he's 22, 23. As of August, he's been tracked by a certain Champions League level club in Austria, which I've heard is pretty good for certain Americans. Some dude named Aronson, I don't know. But he's also been looked at by City Football Group, which owns Man City, Sydney FC, some team in Spain. I think that's all of them. They have a bunch of clubs all over the world. So, if somebody looking at you with that many, I'm not even in shot. If somebody is looking at you with that many connections, you're doing something right.
Yeah, probably. You'd think so.
I think you had him at 15. I think that's a little bit rough, but
yeah, I think average it out. It's probably pretty fair for him.
Our average is going to be so good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Move on to 6.
Yeah, go for it.
I got Bello at 6. So same deal. Stats don't favor the defenders, but 5 U.S. men's national team appearances in a ton of different competitions. So not just random friendlies, stuff that actually mattered. Galatasaray, as well as English and Belgian sides, have been interested in this 19-year-old player. So that right there, again, that is a big part of what my list is what type of interest are you drawing from abroad, right? So that's pretty big, and we know that he is rapidly gaining interest from Greggy Boy, as well as a lot of teams around the world, it seems. So, yeah, 6 for me.
That's fair. At 6 for me, I went with Cole Bassett.
Okay, you put Bassett at 6.
Yeah. So I feel like Bassett's had another pretty solid season here, being a big part of a Colorado team that is currently 3rd in the West. We know obviously how competitive the West is. So, being a key part of a team that's pretty high up there, you're playing obviously an important role. You must be doing well. I think a big part for me is I remember Bassett being like a key member for them even last year. So It seems like he's been pretty consistently like a in and out starter. And not only that, but a starter who's like making an impact on the team. And Colorado's been pretty good across both seasons. Obviously last season was a little bit crazy, but I think that he has proved some consistency, as well as like talent. So that rated pretty highly for me. I think that, yeah, I feel like you don't see that a ton with the U22 players, and I think some of that is just because obviously they're still so young. But to play at a high level and then do it consistently, that was pretty big reason why I put him up this high.
Okay. I think it might be a touch too high for me, but I'm not like super against it. 5.
Yeah, I think you're going to say the same thing about my 5 pick. I think it's probably a touch too high, but I went Ferreira at 5.
Yeah, I figured it. That seems like to be the last person left. I've been tracking where we've been putting everybody too high or too low, and the only person left was Ferreira because I think our top 4 has to be the same. If our top 4 aren't the same.
No, I guarantee you they're not going to be the same. I mean, it's the same people, but probably not the same order.
Oh, I'm gonna have to yell at you.
I went with Ferreira here. I think like I said before, I think he's been overshadowed by Pepi this season, but he's just been so solid for them. I'm sure, like in terms of the way that you were looking at things, him not necessarily having that overseas interest and not really getting in the picture of the men's national team frame probably hurts him a little bit more.
Mhm.
But 6 goals, 6 assists so far. Highest rated player. I understand Dallas has been bad this year, but still being the highest rated player on their team with 715 rating, that's pretty good. I would say that's probably pretty high up there with the U23s. I had it open before. I had to go find it again, but yeah, I mean, I'd probably, if I were to redo this list again, I'd probably drop him below Bassett just because I like the consistency that Bassett has shown. I think Ferreira's season this season has probably been higher than Bassett's across the 2 seasons. But Ferreira, it seems like he kind of just burst on. I mean, obviously he had a lot of hype beforehand and was probably playing a role in some way, but he certainly has burst onto the scene this year as like a star player for them. And I have no doubt he'll start getting European interest soon.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, if not, it'll be South American interest or big team, big name.
Yeah.
My 5 was Leon Flock. Like I said, a little bit high probably, but I love the way this guy's playing. I do love me a good defensive midfielder. Sue me. No rumors, but he transferred in from St. Pauli. So they had to beat somebody out, and it was just a diamond in the rough type of thing. He is probably the one player who is here because I like him as a player more than the criteria that I have listed. If I had played him based off of the criteria that I have listed, he's probably down, by Cade Cowell, Caden Clark. But it's my list. Fight me.
All right. Start us
4.
up, number 4.
Snake number 2, Fernando Rojo. 5 assists and 27 appearances for Galaxy at the outside back spot. 1 assist and 1 appearance for the men's national team, and then once again decided to leave for the 3rd best team in CONCACAF. Doesn't make sense to me, but teach their own. Was scouted by Lille, Sporting CP, as well as Frankfurt. So internationals, interest abroad, good season for a decent team in MLS. Checks it all for being top 4.
Yep, and I got him as 4th as well.
Let's go.
I think I really don't. Obviously, I don't like that he switched to Mexico, but I totally understand it. Like I can't see a situation in which he breaks through past Dest. And right back's like a very deep spot, I feel like, for the U.S. team. So I get it. I totally get it.
I think you meant to say, you got the wrong D. I think you meant to say Duncan, but I get it.
Sure.
Anyways, number 3.
3, I got James Sands.
Yep, that's me too.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't tell me that you messed up 1 and 2.
There's no messing up 1 and 2. Obviously, we differ in 1 and 2.
Don't you dare.
I am gonna dare. I am gonna
Anyways,
do it.
we're gonna talk about James Sands, and then I'm gonna spend 30 minutes ripping you a new one. Stats again, don't favor defenders, but 20 appearances at either center mid or center back for NYC. 5 consecutive starts on route for the U.S. men's national team to win the Gold Cup. Linked to clubs in Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Nothing concrete yet, but has. You would think he has solidified his spot in the men's national team until Greg decides to not bring him up for World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
Whatever, but the kid's a baller. If only he played for the right side of New York, but outside of that, there's nothing really dragging him down.
Yeah, he's just so solid, and he's just that any way that you can imagine. He's a super solid player.
He's a Tyler Adams player. He is Tyler Adams.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy I always think of when people wonder who should be the backup behind Tyler Adams, like, because I know Tyler has like some injury issues. I immediately think James Sands every time. I feel like he can fill that role so well, and I think obviously that spot's pretty thin, but I feel like James Sands should absolutely be like the backup behind him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because he also provides center back depth, right? We go down to a center back injury right at the beginning of the window.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got so much ability both sides of that midfield line. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, he's great. No question. Are your vocal cords nice and warmed up now?
I don't want to do this.
You make such a big deal out of it.
Give me your 2-1. Give me your 2-1 and let me rip you apart about why you're so wrong.
I put Pepi at 2 and I put DK at 1.
I hate you.
I know you hate me.
Much. I hate you more than anything in the world.
So dramatic. It's crazy.
You're wrong. Like, it's not dramatic. It's just you're wrong.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go on your rant.
34 appearances across the championship and MLS. Yes, he scored 9 goals in 19 appearances for Barnsley, helping them into the playoffs or whatever. 6 goals and assists in 12 appearances for Orlando. 2 goals for the men's national team. He's 21. He had 4 Premier League teams looking at him at one point, but he does this. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And nobody has a hype train for him. There's no DK hype train. Adam's gone, so the hype train's gone. Pepi, 12 goals, 2 assists in 27 games for Dallas. 3 goals, 2 assists for the men's national team. 18 years of age, 3 Serie A clubs, 2 Bundesliga clubs, 2 EPL clubs, and Ajax looking at him. Look at all those teams that want him. They could go for the same level player if DK was better than him, but he's not.
DK had, when he did what he did at Barnsley, don't you remember there was like a top 6 team in the Prem that wanted to sign him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that's probably better than every other team that's interested in Pepi.
Every team involved in this transfer for Pepi are all Champions League level teams. They're all top of the league. Every single one.
He's going to get more attention than DK because he's younger. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily better. I think Pepi's potential is higher than DK's, but DK has it's hard to compare right now DK to Pepi in terms of MLS stats because DK has missed time this year, both being in Barnsley, and then he had a little bit of time where he was hurt. But if I compare
this, sitting behind Frank O'Hara, wasting his potential. What do you mean?
Pepi's played almost 2,000 minutes this season. He's barely been behind Frank O'Hara.
No, he has been behind Frank O'Hara because I remember complaining about it. So it's happened.
It was probably for like 2 games.
You're for 2 games.
Pepi's made 27 appearances this season. There has been how many games? 29 games? How many is yeah, Dallas has played 29 games. Pepi has missed 2 games this season. Anyway, DK in terms of goals per minutes I felt that was a good way to compare them, seeing as how DK missed a bunch of the time this season. DK has a better goals per minutes than Pepi this season, and DK was well established in a league that many view pretty highly. Like, I know the championship obviously isn't like the standard of a top 5 league, but he went into Barnsley and dragged that team. He basically single-handedly dragged that team into the playoffs and nearly got them promoted to the Premier League, which many people consider to be the top league in the entire world. I understand the hype around Pepi. I'm all aboard the Pepi hype train.
Clearly you're not. You are.
No, I understand the Pepi hype train. I fully understand it. He's come into the USMNT picture and he started to score goals immediately. And he's been scoring all season long for Dallas. He's got 13 goals, I think, on the season so far for them. But DK is also doing the same thing. And DK did it with Barnsley in the championship, which I feel like, I would say probably some of the teams that he was playing there, maybe majority, are probably better than the lower teams that are playing here. See, DK's got. I don't want to argue about it. If you want to, whatever. I don't care.
Here's what
I am fine with Pepi being ahead.
Here's what I want to know. I don't want to know goals per minutes. I want to know goals per shot. Give me his conversion rate.
So DK has 15 goals and he has 1.5 shots per game. Pepi has 13 goals and 2.4 shots per game.
No way.
I'm looking at who scored.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You are a liar. You're a hater.
Even if you want to look at just this season, DK's got 6 goals on 1.5 shots per game. The most shots per game DK's had was at Barnsley. He had 1.6 shots per game. So DK's even got the better finishing stats than Pepi. I wholly understand the Pepi hype train, and I wholly believe that Pepi will be a better player than DK. But I just feel like DK at the moment has proved more than Pepi. Pepi's red hot.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
DK's doing it, surrounded by Nani, Mauricio Pereira, Chris Mueller, and a ton of other really good players. Pepi's doing it, surrounded by a bunch of 18-year-olds who nobody's ever heard of. And Shabazz Shown. Pepi hype train is leaving without you because you don't deserve to be on it. And that is where we stand. I don't want to hear anymore because you're a hater, and I don't need to hear you be a hater on my podcast.
Whatever you say.
We need Adam here. No, I don't want Adam here. I'm glad Adam's not here because Adam would say something stupid like DK hype train started before Pepi hype train, so DK is better. So I'm glad.
Is Adam on the Pepi? I mean, I'm sure Adam's on.
Adam's probably on it, but he was always on the DK hype train because he knows.
I know. Adam would be a good tiebreaker right here.
No, Adam would be an awful tiebreaker. He's not.
Because he would disagree with you. That's why you say that.
He's not impartial. And by that I mean he's not on my side. So I don't want to deal with it. Let's average this thing out real quick.
Yeah.
Pepi's at a 1.5, DK's at a 1.5. So it's going to go Pepi 1.
Just call it a tie. Just say tie first.
Not a chance in hell. It's going to go Pepi 1.
You're the worst. I want you to know that. You're the worst.
Pepi is at 1. DK's at 2. You are not. Sans.
I am.
Araujo at 4. Leon Flock would be 6. Bello would be 7. Paredes averages out to 22, 11. Ferreira goes 13 divided by 2 is 7.5. So I'll put Ferreira at 8.
It is not 7.5. Try again.
6.5. Shut up.
And this man says Pepi for number 1.
Ferreira. It's been a long day, all right? Bernaire at 23 is 11 and a half, so I'll put him at 12. Rodriguez would be 13. Caceres would be 10. Bassett would be 9. Caden Clark is also a 13. Cowell would be at 15. All right, so the rest of them were not ranked to ranked. So I need to know where you're ranking Schlabaz, Schoen, Perea, Nyman, Romero, and Barreal.
Hold on, let me write them down and then I'll go. So Sean, Perea. Who's after Moses?
Romero, the goalkeeper from LAFC, and then Barreal.
Okay, so I'll just assume I stick them like right behind. So I would put Sean.
Yeah, but go 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, right?
Okay, I would say 23 is Sean, 24 Perea, 25. Honestly, I think I would put it in the same order that you just read it off.
Oh yeah, okay. 23,
Yeah.
24.
So I think that's Sean, Perea, Nyman, Romero, Barreal.
27. Okay, let me finish these numbers here.
You would probably have to do the same with mine too, right?
Yeah, I mean, whoa, average of. So 19 is shown. Perea. Perea is 20. Ochoa is already there. Caicedo is 14. Tolkien would be 11. No, just kidding.
Someone needs to check your math. I think you're gonna mess it up.
Oh, you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. I'll go clear that. We'll do name me wrong and then average. And I can do it like an Excel equation. Okay. So Pepi 1, and then the person who was wrong put 2. DK 2, person who was wrong put 1. Sands 3-3. Araujo 4-4. Flock 5-7. Bello 6-8. Paredes 7-15. Pereira 8-5. Bernaire 9-14. Rodriguez 10-16. Cáceres 11-9. Bassett 12-6. Clark 13-13. By the way, we got 3 dead on, you and I, so you're not always wrong. Most of the time, most of the time you're wrong, but not always. All right, we are almost there. Ochoa 17 and 11. Sato 18 and 10, which is extremely wrong. Nyman. Uh, 19 and 25. Tolkien was 20 and 12. Romero was 21-26. Real was 22-27. Then you had Akinola, who was 24-20. Then you had Shea, who was 27-17. Actually, what I'll do is I'll move those up, make that 23-24. Fall was 25-22. Comical was 26-21. And then Alvarez was 27-20. All right, the list has been made. We go ahead and sort. Sort and filter, custom sort by average, smallest to largest. Oh, look at that. Pepi's first. Would you believe it?
No, I wouldn't.
I bet you wouldn't. So the final standings for the 22 under 22. We have lost. The honorable mentions are Barreal, Efren Alvarez, Paxton Pomykal, Mamadou Fall, Romero, and Moses Nyman. Meaning 22 is Ayo Akinola. This is the final one. 21 is Justin Shea. Pereira's at 20. 19 is Lavash Schoen. 18 is John Tolkien. Cade Cowell at 17. DeBer Caicedo at 16. Ochoa at 15. Caden Clark at 14. Brian Rodriguez at 13. Brenner at 12. Kevin Paredes at 11. Cáceres at 10. Bassett at 9. Bello at 8. Ferreira at 7. Flock at 6. Arujo at 5. What did I mess up here?
Oh yeah, something. Did you say Ferreira? I don't remember.
I did. Oh, I was reading the column number, not the position number. So
You idiot.
Nyman.
Why you're wrong. DK's number 1.
Nyman is 22. Akinola at 21. Justin Shea at 20. Pereira at 19. Schoen at 18. Tolkien at 17. Cowell at 16. Caicedo at 15. Ochoa at 14. Caden Clark at 13. Brian Rodriguez at 12. Brenner at 11. Christian Paredes at 10. Cáceres at 9. Bassett at 8. Bello at 7. Ferreira at 6. Flock at 5. Araujo at 4. Sands at 3. DK at 2. Pepi at 1. End of conversation. Because there is no conversation for you being wrong.
I like 20 of those. There's 2 I don't like.
Yeah, I agree. I think George Bello should probably be at like 304th.
You're the worst.
And
You're the
probably Cole Bassett should probably drop a little bit too.
I don't like you.
You are consistently wrong.
No.
And I wish I had somebody to yell at you with me, but here we are.
You wouldn't. If Adam was here, he would probably agree with me.
This is why we kicked Adam off of the podcast, because he has bad takes. You're next. This is about to be a solo podcast.
Whether you and Gracie.
You're bad at this. This is fun. This is a good time.
No. I don't like you.
This is a lot of fun. I was really happy to hear that you still have really bad takes, which is great. I look forward to the next episode that we put out, which will be ranking tier list of youth academies. So you'll be wrong there too. That'll be fun. And then we got a few more other ones coming
Yeah,
up.
you're gonna yell at me just because I'm not gonna put Red Bull 1.
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm not going to yell. I am going to have a strongly worded discussion.
I'm not going to yell. I'm gonna scream.
I am going to make so much noise. You are going to log off the podcast.
I'm gonna make so much noise. I'm gonna get evicted from my apartment.
I'm surprised I haven't been kicked out already, but here we are.
They should. They should.
Um,
I'm sure they've heard your awful takes before. All right, I'm gonna let you finish the outro.
Coming up next couple of weeks, tier list of MLS academies, most hated player on each team this year and all time. January USMNT camp wish list. And then playoff predictions. How do we think the playoffs are going to end? So that is
Wasn't
there kind of like
there was another? I thought you mentioned another one in one of our group chats. You were like, "Oh, episode idea."
I comment episode idea on everything you literally post.
Oh, it was the one season wonders.
Oh, one season wonders.
That would be a good
Yeah,
one. That'd be a fun one.
That would be tough, but I think it would be a good one to do. So
That would be fun though. Like you're gonna pull out. You actually, I already know you. You're gonna be like, "This is every FC Dallas player for the last 20 years." Here's all of their seasons.
but here's the thing, I couldn't name any Dallas players from the last 3 years outside of like Pepi, now Schoen. I learned about Schoen today. They aren't a real team. I'm convinced they just
know Ryan Hollingshead because of Adam.
Hype train for Ryan Hollingshead. But anyways,
Fun stuff on the horizon.
we got some good stuff coming up. Connor's going to start recording on a more regular basis, so
Yes, I'm in.
we'll get these out once again and get back on the right trail. 2222 for episode 22. Let us know what you think about our list. Make sure you let Connor know how wrong he is in every, share this around and just, say the guy with the bad hair makes really bad picks too. And we'll know who you're talking about. But anything else?
Yeah, you deserve that crooked picture.
That's so frustrating still. Anyway, we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.